Hi, VBC kids. It's Sunday again. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you had a wonderful Easter. We had a great time last week. It was good to see some of you too. Anyways, today, because I forgot to do the drawing a couple weeks ago, everyone who answered the question last week has been entered into the drawing for today 2 times. So, those of you who got the question correct, it was the 2 men that took Jesus' body down the cross and put it in the tomb was Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus. So, some new kids were watching. Miss Joanne's grandkids were watching, and so she let me know that Jordan, Isaiah, and Dominic all got the question right. So your names are in here 2 times. Abigail and Seth Mahala are in here. Eric McKee, William, Alyssa, and David, Eddie, Michael, and Elizabeth, and Jenna answered the question correctly last week too. Now, if I missed anybody, please let me know. So we are going to do the drawing, and this drawing is for a prize for my treasure chest. So if your name is drawn, when we get done with this quarantine, you will get to pick your prize from the treasure chest, okay? So for today, I'm going to close my eyes so I can't see. Your names are in here twice, and I'm also going to pick 2 winners. Okay, let's see. I got one. All right. Let's see if you can see. Oh, I don't know if you can see it or not. Elizabeth Fischetti, you are a winner today. Good job. And last week, she sent me a video of the answer, and she was in her beautiful Easter dress, Elizabeth. Gorgeous. Okay, one more drawing. Here we go. Drum roll. I'm closing my eyes so I don't cheat. Let's see. I got one here. It is Isaiah. Miss Joanne's grandson, Isaiah. You got drawn. So I will make sure to get your prize to you through your grandma, okay? That is awesome. So thank you for that. At the end of our lesson, we'll have another question, and you'll have an opportunity to text me the answer, have your parents text me the answer, and we'll do another drawing. Every single week, we'll do a drawing. So I'm excited about our lesson today because it has to do with apples. Do you like apples? I love apples. Well, there are a lot of different kinds of apples. Let me show you some of them. First of all, I'm going to show you my favorite kind of apple. This apple is let me make sure it's the right one. Yep, a Honeycrisp apple. Honeycrisp is my favorite kind of apple. It's just perfect. It's crispy. It's a little sour, a little sweet. Oh, so good. Honeycrisp, that's my favorite apple. And this looks really good. Makes me want to just take a bite out of it. William loves Granny Smith. Granny Smith are so sour. I don't know if any of you guys like Granny Smith, but he loves Granny Smith apples. And they're green on the outside and white on the inside and sour, 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 sour. When I make apple pie, I use these apples, but I put a lot of sugar with them to make them sweet. This is a Granny Smith apple. Then maybe you like Golden Delicious. They're a little bit more sweet. And this is a Golden Delicious apple. So Alyssa likes to dip her apples in peanut butter. It's a good snack. You should try it. But these apples all look amazing on the inside. I have one more apple I want to show you right here. This is a Red Delicious apple. Doesn't that look absolutely perfect on the outside? It looks so delicious. So let's see what happens with this apple. If I open it up and show you what it looks like on the inside. That looks disgusting. Is that what you thought it would look like on the inside? Look at the outside again. It's perfect. It's beautiful. But look at the inside. Nasty. I do not want to eat that apple. And just like this apple looks so beautiful on the outside, we can be the same way. Do you know that God cares about what's on our inside more than what's on our outside? Let me read from you a verse in the Bible. This verse says, it's from 1 Samuel 16, verse 7. It says, Man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. Do you know that God knows what you think about? God knows what your heart is like. Do you know that you may act perfect? You may say the right words, you may do the right actions, and you may wear the right clothes, and you just look like you are perfect. But, babe, it says low power mode. Do I need to do something? The battery? But I can't see anything anymore. Is it still on?
Yeah, it's still going.
Okay, sorry about that. Thought the phone was going to die on me. So, you may act perfect on the outside, but on the inside, you may look like this. Just like that nasty apple. Maybe you act nice to your brothers and sisters, but inside you think horrible thoughts about them. Maybe you say, yes, ma'am, to your mom, but inside you're calling her all sorts of nasty names. God doesn't want us to have a dirty heart. God wants us to be clean on the outside, but he wants us to be, most importantly, to be clean on the inside. What good is it to have a beautiful apple that looks wonderful and delicious on the outside, but is nasty on the inside? Do you want to eat this apple? It's not good. No. I want to eat an apple that when you open it up, it's just as beautiful on the inside as it is on the outside. You may say, Miss Caroline, I don't think I'm very clean on the inside. Maybe I have thought some bad things about some people. What should I do? It's okay. None of us are perfect, and none of us are always going to be perfect on the inside. But when those things come into our head, and when we do think those thoughts are, we struggle with that, with being like that on the inside, we can pray and ask God to forgive us. And then we can ask God to help us to have a clean heart and to help us to think the right thoughts and to be the right kind of person on the inside as we are on the outside. If it's something you really, really struggle with, you can talk to your parents about it. Maybe your mom or your dad, or maybe a relative or a teacher. You could talk to me if you need to. And make sure that your inside is just as clean as your outside looks. That reminds me of a story. I want to tell you a little story today. This story doesn't come from the Bible. It's a story about a red rose. Let's see if I can show you. I'll fold this in half here. There's the beautiful red rose. I love roses. I love roses so much. They're my favorite flower. And this is a story about a beautiful red rose. Now, this story takes place in a forest. And in this forest lived a beautiful red rose. Well, one day, a pine tree looked at this beautiful red rose and he thought, that red rose is so beautiful. I wish I were like that pine tree. And the red rose heard him say that, and she thought, oh, I am so beautiful. Everyone must think I am the most beautiful plant in the forest. Did you hear what the pine tree just said? Well, the sunflower said to the rose, there are many beautiful plants in the forest. You are just one of them. You aren't the most beautiful, the rose said. But look, everyone around is admiring my beauty. Didn't you just hear what the pine tree said? Everyone thinks I'm the most beautiful plant in the forest. One day, she looked next to her and saw, what is this next to me? An ugly cactus? Oh, and look at all those thorns on him. Why do I have to be next to this ugly cactus? I'm the most beautiful plant in the forest. The pine tree said, Red Rose, what are these words I hear coming from your mouth? Who are you to determine what real beauty is? And look, you have thorns too, the red rose said. Oh, cactus. I thought you had better taste than that. How dare you compare my thorns to the thorns of that ugly cactus? As the days passed, the rose decided she did not want to be by this ugly cactus. She tried to move her roots, but she couldn't. She was stuck next to this cactus. And she would say mean things to him all the times, like, "You're so useless, cactus. I don't even know why you're here in the forest." You know, the cactus never got upset, though. He told the rose, God did not create any form of life without a purpose. He knew he had a purpose, and he didn't let what the rose say bothered him. But the rose just could not stand this ugly cactus looking at him because she was so beautiful. Now, do you think the rose is acting very beautiful on the inside right here? I don't think so. Pretty soon, spring passed. The summer came. There was no rain, and it was very hot. And guess what happened to the rose? She started to wilt. She was dying because she didn't have any water. And one day, the rose looked over at the cactus, and she saw some sparrows put their beaks in the cactus, and then they would leave, and they were refreshed. And she thought, what is going on here? So she asked the pine tree, "Pine, what are those sparrows doing to the cactus?" And the cactus said, the pine tree said, "Red Rose, the cactus has water in it, and those sparrows put their beaks in the cactus and they get water." The red rose thought, "Oh, wouldn't that hurt? The holes that they leave in the cactus to get their water?" And the pine said, "Yes, that would hurt the cactus very much, but the cactus doesn't want to see anyone suffer, and so he lets them do it." Suddenly, the red rose thought, "Oh, the cactus has water!" And the pine said, "Yes, if you asked him, I bet he would let the sparrows give you some of his water." The red rose was so ashamed. She thought, how can I ask the cactus for some water when I have been so mean to him? She couldn't do it. Finally, she was about at the end, and she finally gave in, and she said, "Cactus, could I have some of your water?" And the cactus let the sparrows bring some water to the rose, and the rose was able to live. And the rose learned a valuable lesson that day, to never judge anyone by their appearance. That rose looked so beautiful on the outside, but inside was just like our ugly apple. Now you have that cactus. He may not have been as beautiful on the inside, but he had a purpose, and God has created each one of you with a purpose. And that cactus saved the rose's life and was very kind, even though the rose did not deserve it. And that cactus had a good heart, and he was good on the inside. And that lesson, that can teach us that as well. So we've learned a lesson about not only making sure that our heart is nice and clean on the inside, but also not to look at somebody and judge them. Just because the cactus didn't look as beautiful as the rose didn't mean he had a beautiful inside, and that God didn't make him like that for a reason. We should never look at somebody and judge them based on how they look. I'm going to read to you this verse in the Bible again. 1 Samuel 16:7 says, "For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart." It's kind of neat. This verse was written about a man named David, King David, in fact. And Samuel came to David's house, and God had told him, "I want you to anoint one of these boys to be the next king." And Samuel looked at all the brothers, and they were tall and strong. And he said, "How about this one, God? How about this one? How about this one?" And God said, "No. And he ended up telling Samuel to choose the youngest one, little David, the shepherd boy, because he said, this is what God said, "I'm not looking on the outward appearance. I'm looking on the heart. And that's why God chose David. And God has a special plan for you. Keep your heart clean because God sees your heart. Now, the question I have for you today is, what kind of birds got water from the cactus? Text your answer, have your parents text me the answer, and I will put your name in a drawing for next week. I have one last song to sing to you. This song is kind of about God seeing what we do. It's called Oh Be Careful Little Eyes. Some of you may know it. It goes like this. Oh, be careful little eyes, what you see. Oh, be careful little eyes, what you see. For the Father up above is looking down in love. Oh, be careful little eyes, what you see. Oh, be careful little ears, what you hear. Sing it if you know it. Oh, be careful little ears, what you hear. For the Father up above is looking down in love. Oh, be careful little ears, what you hear. Oh, be careful little tongue, what you say. This is a good one. Oh, be careful little tongue, what you say. For the Father up above is looking down in love. Oh, be careful little tongue, what you say. And the song is teaching us that what we see, what we hear, what we say, God sees it all. And He's watching us. Oh, be careful little hands, what you do. Oh, be careful little hands, what you do. For the Father up above is looking down in love. Oh, be careful little hands, what you do. Oh, be careful little feet, where you go. Maybe you can march. Oh, be careful little feet, where you go. For the Father up above is looking down in love. Oh, be careful little feet, where you go. Oh, be careful little mind, what you think. Oh, be careful little mind, what you think. For the Father up above is looking down in love. Oh, be careful little mind, what you think. Thank you for watching so much today, and I hope that you always remember to make sure to be clean on the inside as well as on the outside. Have a good Sunday.